Well, Team Rubicon is gearing up to help with any potential destruction left behind by Laura and Marco on the Gulf Coast. Jake Wood joins us now. He's the CEO and co-founder of this nonprofit disaster relief organization. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Alex.
So what is Team Rubicon doing right now in the lead up to Laura as well as Marco?
Well, like you, we're certainly monitoring these storms as they seem to be changing on an hourly basis, but we're also making sure that we're notifying all of our volunteers who are on the ground within all of the potential impact areas. We're also making sure that any of the active operations that we have going on in the ground right now, mostly related to COVID-19 and food security operations, that they're well prepared to evacuate should that order come and it's necessary for their safety.
Now, are you guys equipped to handle all aspects of disaster relief? We're talking about temporary housing, food, water, medical treatment, that kind of thing?
Well, Team Rubicon provides a broad range of activities after a storm passes. We have route clearance teams that are prepared to assist local authorities in clearing roads should there be a lot of wind damage. Most of the work that we do is directed to individual homeowners, helping them to expeditiously get back into their homes. That means tarping roofs, that means mucking and gutting homes in the case of flood damage. But we work with a broad array of partners like the Red Cross, like the Salvation Army, who supplement our activities with things like shelter and food support.
Now, you mentioned a bit about COVID-19. Of course, we're here in the pandemic. How is that impacting Team Rubicon's field operations, or how do you anticipate that impacting you as we head on through the next several days?
Sure. Well, COVID-19 is obviously impacting everything. We've had to make some really tough decisions about restricting the deployability of certain demographics within our volunteer base. For instance, those volunteers over the age of 65, we've restricted their ability to deploy. We've reduced the amount of travel that we're allowing people to come in, so we're no longer bringing people in from out of state to reduce community transmission. Then obviously we have to take all manners of safety protocols to ensure that within the teams themselves, while they're on the ground, that we're not transmitting that disease. Everything from temperature checks to respirators to ensuring that our volunteers, where they're sleeping at night, that they have sufficient distancing so that we're not passing it unknowingly or unwittingly in our sleep. So it's created a lot of complications.
I can imagine. Now, I understand roughly 70% of Team Rubicon volunteers are military vets. How do military skills translate to disaster response?
Yeah, well, our philosophy is that veterans were built for chaos. These are men and women that the U.S. government has spent a lot of money and a lot of time training. They're men and women who've taken that training and applied it overseas in very tough circumstances and environments. And at the end of the day, service is in their heart. So we take all of that and we put these men and women back into service in their communities, responding to disasters where they can bring all of those skills to bear. And we've seen a lot of success doing that over the last decade and over 700 missions around the world and here in the U.S.
Well, Jake Wood there, CEO and co-founder of Team Rubicon. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all that you guys do, you and your gray shirts there to help Americans get back on their feet after disasters strike.